Well, holy Smokas, this ain't no Jokas. Oh my goodness, guys. Today I'm gonna share with you a bunch of Jack Jackson stocks out there. And I mean, I'm gonna show you a list of ridiculous amount of Jack Jackson stocks. I don't think people even realize how many stocks are really in this space. I think a lot of people think there's only like 5 different stocks because those are the ones you hear about. But I'm gonna share a list with you here today that is ridiculous, okay? Just a ridiculous amount of stocks that are in this Jack Jackson space, which is a massive space. And before we get into that massive list, I want to share some perspective with some of you out there because I know a lot of folks don't even own one Jack Jackson stock in their portfolio. And I want to kind of share some perspective with you here at the start on why you should at least consider owning 1 or 2 Jack Jackson stocks in your portfolio. And I just got into the space about a year ago, okay? And I think it's very widely known out there that I was a Planet investor, okay? And obviously I shared that on the channel. That stock's done tremendous for it. They have a very bright future. And that was the first stock I ever invested in this space. And the way I'm seeing things, it's like, I feel like now's the right time for, let's say in the past year or so, it's the right time to kind of get in now. A few years ago, it was too early days, back in 2018, 2017, 2016, when a lot of folks were jumping in this space. I felt like it was too early days. 2020, 2021, in these future years, I feel like now is kind of a very interesting time to get involved. So hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, don't forget to smash if you want to apply for my private stock group. That'll be linked in the description area for you if you want to check that out. If you want to try to join Stock Hub, that's our free Discord chat, and that is also linked in the description area as well in this video, okay? So when we're talking about the Jack Jackson space, and by the way, if you don't know what Jack Jackson is, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe look at the comments or something like that, okay? But there's many reasons why you should at least consider adding 1 to 2 stocks in your portfolio, okay? One is, this industry has massive TAM, okay? When we're talking about TAM, that stands for total addressable market. And in the Jack Jackson space, I mean, it is crazy and it's already built out. And that's what makes this industry so special and why I think a lot of these companies are gonna grow super fast over the next 5 or 10 years, okay? When it comes to a lot of industries, you have kind of a built up time. And in this time period, the TAM is built over time. So you think about smartphones, right? Not everybody went out and got a smartphone right away. It's like over time, people had to go out and get smartphones. Even with companies I own like Tesla, right? Autonomous taxi network, that takes time to build out. There's a brand new market. Like no one's having cars drive themselves around right now with no driver in it as of right now, right? And so that's something that will take years and years and years to build over time. This industry, the TAM is already there. There's no question about well, is there really actually a big market for this? Yes, there's a massive market for this and it is already built out, okay? And that's one of the phenomenal things. It's just about going from illegal transactions to legal transactions now, okay? Federal legalization is coming very soon, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of talk that federal legalization could come within the next 1 to 2 years, okay? I fully expect federal legalization in the United States of America within the next 5 years, okay? But I would put it as like a 50-50 right now, maybe even a 60-40. That federal legalization comes for Jack Jackson within the next 1 to 2 years, okay? And maybe someday I'll be able to make videos without calling it Jack Jackson and be able to call it something else, okay? But federal legalization is likely coming very soon. And on top of that, let's just assume federal legalization doesn't come, okay? More and more states are legalizing. I think I just heard something about New Jersey, right? Am I correct on that? I think New Jersey just legalized very recently. Obviously, we saw 4 new states legalize in the election that was in the fall, right? So more and more states are moving toward legalization, and this is just a huge opportunity, okay? There's just no doubt in my mind, whether federal legalization comes or not, more and more states are gonna legalize. At this point, there's so many states legalizing, I'm just like on a federal level, just legalize, it just doesn't make any sense anymore. There's too many people either for the product or are in middle ground, they don't really care, versus maybe in generations in the past where there was a lot of people very anti on this product and things like that, okay? Now, capital could pour in, absolutely pour in when full legalization comes in this space. That's something to keep in mind. Right now, it is, not all banks can even invest in this space. A lot of these companies have to list on different, OTC exchanges and things like that. In the future, when things are fully legalized, okay, there could be so much capital pour into this space. It could be really unreal, especially when, folks and investors funds, banks, everything across the board, when they realize how much TAM is here, okay? That's when capital is really going to pour in, especially as soon as you see a few really highly successful companies, no pun intended, that's when more and more capital will pour in, okay? Now also, many of the small guys in this space, so maybe you know, companies with, you know, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars of market capitalization, some of those small companies that are on some of these exchanges, you know, some of them could go under over time, but some of them could also get bought out by the big guys, okay? There will likely be consolidation in this space over time. You've seen that in every industry. You think about the liquor industry, okay? You might think, oh, there's all these different brands and things like that. What you probably don't know is most of those brands you see at an average liquor store are owned by a few big conglomerates, okay? Same thing with beer and even all the popular wines. A lot of them are owned by some big, huge holding companies that just own a bunch of them. And so that's going to happen in this space. There'll be a lot of the smaller companies will end up, if they can make it through and, you know, they can prove success and things like that, they might not be able to become a big giant in the Jack Jackson space long term, but they could potentially be a buyout target for some of the really big companies. And I can definitely, that's already starting to play out a little bit in this space, but it's going to play out a lot more over the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion, especially when capital's pouring in. That's the big thing, okay? Then these businesses are likely going to be very profitable long term. Like, there's just no way I don't see many of these businesses being highly profitable. Ones that sell more commodity related products, meaning they're just mass producing and it's a very product, I think those ones could maybe not see as good as profitability, but the ones that have brand names behind the products and are taking the care to actually grow a customer base that actually likes that product, those are the companies that I can see being highly profitable long term, okay? And when you're talking about big profits plus big revenue growth, that's the magic thing when it comes to business, okay? And when it comes to stocks, all right? Now, if this market, the Jack Jackson market, is this big when it's illegal, how big is it going to be when it's legalized? That's one of the big questions, because we know there's massive TAM already built in this as an illegal product, but when things are legalized, like, how big could this industry really be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and things like that, okay? So this is something very important to think about there. The TAM is likely going to expand dramatically over the coming years. And lastly, there's so much room, because this is such a huge market, that there will be plenty of companies in this space that will be future giants. I'm talking, there's going to be, you know, I can picture dozens of companies having between a $1 billion and a $10 billion market cap in this industry 10 years from now. And I can see 10 companies or more having a $10 billion or more market cap in this industry 10 years from now, okay? Maybe there's even a company or two that has, dare I say, a $50 billion or a $100 billion market cap in this industry in 10 years from now. I think it is a possibility, okay? So there's plenty of money to be made around from a lot of companies out there, guys. And so that's why you should really consider at least 1 or 2 Jack Jackson stocks out there. And without further ado, let's get into this list of, oh my gosh, it is a lot of stocks, okay, guys? We're about to go through it here, all right? Now, I got the ticker symbols there, so if you want to look up any of these stocks, do some research on them. Keep in mind, a lot of these stocks are penny stocks. A lot of them could potentially go under over time or get bought out, or maybe they don't make it and they have to file bankruptcy. You never really know, okay? So keep in mind, it is still, obviously a risky space, especially when it comes to certain of these stocks, okay? 48 North Jack Jackson Corporation, right there, NCNNF. I'm just going to tell you guys the companies. You can look at the ticker if you want, okay? Forefront Ventures Corporation, Acreage Holdings. If I have any opinion on any of these, I'll share that opinion, okay? Some of these I don't. Agriflora Organics International, Aleafia Health, something like that. Sorry if I pronounced that name wrong there, okay? Alternate Health Corp, American, Aferia. Now that one I have heard a lot of, okay? Not I haven't really looked into it, but I have heard a lot of that one. This one, obviously Aurora. A lot of people have bought Aurora over time, okay? Ticker symbol ACB there. Oscan Group Holdings Ltd, Australis Cap, Oxalo, Jack Jackson Group. Man, some of these names are just ridiculous. AYR Strategies, Believe Inc. Oh man, that one just has a good name, okay? Benchmark Botanics Inc., Bevcana Enterprises Incorporated, Behang, oh man, I like some of these names, man. Behang Inc., Biome Grow Inc., Blue, wait a minute, is that serious? Blueberries Medical Corporation. Oh man, this is just too much, okay? Bluma Wellness. By the way, if you guys have any super in-depth opinion on any of these stocks I'm shouting out here in this list, let us know in the comments section what your bullish thesis is on any of these stocks, especially any of these weird ones that probably a lot of people have never even heard of until they watch this video right now, okay? Bots Inc. I'm gonna read through the comments because I'm really interested. Maybe there's a huge winner in this space, okay? C21 Investments Inc., Canada House Wellness Group, Jack Jackson Growth Opportunity, Jack Jackson Sativa, Cano One Technologies, Cana Pharmax, Cana Trust Holdings, and then obviously Canopy Growth Corporation, CGC. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Canopy is the biggest company in the world, but certainly in the stock market when it comes to market capitalization, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong there, okay? Canopy Rivers, Consortium Inc., CBD Global Sciences Inc., Charlotte's Web, okay? I think Charlotte's Web. So I remember my brother, he told me to buy Charlotte's Web a few years ago. I don't know how that stock's been doing over the last few years, but I remember he was really bullish on that Charlotte's Web company, okay? Chemisys International, Citrine Global, City View Green Holdings Inc., CLS Holdings USA, Columbia Care Inc., Cordovancan Corp, Cresco Labs. That sounds familiar. I don't know how though, okay? Obviously this next one's a big one that a lot of people know about. Kronos Group, okay? Kronos Group. Cureleaf Holdings. Cureleaf Holdings. Now, somebody in my private group owns a lot of that stock, and they're a big believer, and they're always giving their bullish thesis on Cureleaf Holdings, okay? Big believer there, all right? Cure Pharmaceutical Holdings, CV Sciences, Delta 9, Jack Jackson, Earth Science Tech, Emerald Health Therapeutics, Empower Clinics, MX Corporation, Evenco Incorporated, Experion Holdings Ltd, Fincana Capital Corp, Fire and Power Holdings Corp, Flower One Holdings, sounds interesting. Full Self-Driving Pharma, I'm just kidding, okay? But when I do see FSD, it does make me think full self-driving, okay? FSD Pharma, JEA Inc., GB Sciences Inc., General Jack Jackson Corporation, Global Hemp Group, Global Tech Industries, man, that doesn't even sound like a player in the Jack Jackson space. Golden Leaf Holdings, Green Organics Dutchman Holdings, Green Thumb Industries, that's another one I've heard of, okay? Grow Capital, G-Tech Holdings, ticker symbol GGTTF. Wow, that really sounds like an interesting stock. That one really sounds interesting. GW Pharmaceuticals PLC, Halo Labs Inc., Harborside Inc., Harvest Health and Recreation, Harvest One Jack Jackson Inc., Helio Spectra AB, Heritage Jack Jackson Holdings Corporation, Hexo Corporation, High Tide, okay? High Tide. Somebody just gave me like a ridiculous bullish thesis on High Tide. And when I say ridiculous, I don't mean it was just like, it was silly or something like that. It was ridiculous in terms of like, they sent me like so much information on High Tide, I can't even explain it to you, okay? But yeah, anyways, I got to do more research on that one, but it is one I've it's come across my radar very recently, okay? Hollister, Hollister, it makes me, just when I hear the word Hollister, it makes me kind of, like when you go by a Hollister store, there's always like that smell, it just makes me think of Hollister. Biosciences Inc., Ianthus Capital Holdings, Ignite International Brands. Oh boy, are they even still around? Oh man, yeah. Like I said, some of these are very, very speculative. Okay, I think that's the damn Bulgarian one, wasn't that one? Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, India Globalization Capital Inc., Indus Holdings, InMed Pharmaceuticals Inc., Inner Spirit Holdings. Sounds like a sushi restaurant. Jushi Holdings Inc., Kaya Holdings, I guess, Kirin Life Sciences Corp, Kona Gold Solutions, Kush, Kushco Holdings, Leaf Buyer Technologies, Levanthan Natural Products, Liberty Health Science, Livewire. Wow, I haven't heard that word in a while. Livewire, Ergonomics Inc., Lotus Ventures Inc., Meramed Inc., Medical Jack Jackson Inc., Medicine Man Technologies. That's not to be confused with that MindMed, right? Oh man, everybody's all hyped on that MindMed. What's going on with that one? Okay, that's not really in this one necessarily, but you know. Anyways, Medifarm Labs Corp., MedMen Enterprises, MedMen, I believe. I did check out that one before I actually bought the Planet stock, if I recall. Yeah, I did actually. Meta Growth Corporation, Mountain High Acquisitions, Namstay Technologies. I think some weird, sketchy stuff went down there a few years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. Neptune Wellness Solutions, Nutritional High International, Organgram Holdings. The Planet. Yes, let's go. The Planet. Okay, we all love the Planet. Planet stock. Huge retailer. They build massive stores. They are the Disneyland of MJ. I have many hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in that company. Huge believer long term. Haven't sold one share, and if anything, I bought more shares over time and just added to the position. I love that one's opportunity. We got a store opening in Orange County area-ish. And basically, shoot, that one will probably be opening within the next, I would say, 3 to 5 months, somewhere around there. So yeah, super excited about that one. And then they own brands, and the brands are phenomenal. The packaging, the way they look, I've heard good things about it. It's just, yeah, the Planet, okay? That's obviously my favorite of the bunch, ticker symbol PLNHF. Plus Products Inc., Red, White, and Bloom brands. Oh gosh, okay. Rubicon Organics, Soul Global Investments Corp., Speakeasy Jack Jackson Club, STEM Holdings, Supreme Jack Jackson. Oh man, you just slap a Supreme label on it, man. You'll start making bank. Serena Inc., Terra Tech Corp., TerraSend Corp., THC Global Group, The Flower Corporation. Interesting. The Valens Company Inc., Tilray. Oh man, I still remember the day Tilray hit $300. Just like many years ago, and I called it the biggest bubble I'd seen in the stock market. Woo! That one was a crazy one. Tilt Holdings Inc. Tilt Holdings Inc. again. I must have copied that one twice on accident. Trulieve Jack Jackson, another interesting one that I've heard a lot of things about. Veritas Farms, Village Farms International, Vireo Health International, Vivo Jack Jackson. Oh, come on, man. Jack Jackson Inc.? Wow, man. Jack Jackson MD Inc., Zelira Therapeutics Ltd, Zenabis Global Inc. Holy smokers, that wasn't no jokers. I think I need a glass of water after just listing off that ridiculous amount of stocks, okay? Now, with that being said, okay, have fun with your research when you're looking into these companies. But something very important to keep in mind, okay? Look at the capital positions, especially, well, I mean, look at the capital positions for all the companies, but especially any of those. There's a lot of them in there that are going to be penny stocks, okay? Stocks that are maybe priced under $1 a share, okay? Look at the capital positions. Are they even going to make it to next quarter and things like that? This is obviously very important. You can see, if you can't see the balance sheet of these companies, then don't invest in it, basically, okay? You want to make sure they have cash around to fund anything they have going on short term and things like that if you want to take any risk in any of these stocks, because keep in mind, some of those companies I just listed off there will not make it through the next year, or especially the next several years. Some of those companies will probably get bought out by bigger companies. Some of those companies will grow into massive giants over time, and some of those companies are already becoming like massive giants, okay? But keep in mind, look at the capital positions with these companies. It's very important. A company like I own, The Planet, they just announced recently they have, I think it was, how much was it? $130 million, $150 million or something like that in cash just sitting around on their balance sheet. They're in an extremely great position when it comes to their capital. not all those stocks are in that position. I can tell you that, okay? So make sure you look at the capital position these companies are in before you touch any of them, and make sure their CEOs aren't just talking a big game. What are they actually executing on? What is their actual vision for the company? What are they doing today? I think that's really, really key when it comes to these stocks. So hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, let me know if you own any of those stocks in the comment section. Also, if you got a bull thesis on any of these stocks, I'll be reading through the comments, and maybe one of you guys talk me into the next stock in this space. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.